Hey guys, Laura Learns here. Today I want to fill you in on what's been going on with my year-long project, Rooted in Growth, a little reflection that my friend Linda and I are doing. We got together this week and did our first mixed media, so I'm going to show you what we got. Okay, so the very first thing I did was just play. I have never done mixed media before, and so I simply played. And I don't know if you can tell, way up in this front corner, oh yeah, you can a little bit. There's a one and a bit of circle here. I started by trying to do a little bit of embossing on my paper to see if the watercolor and everything would resist it. It did a little bit, but not quite as much as I wanted. Then I did watercolor the whole background, which you can't really tell because I ended up covering up most of it, but like here is still watercolored in here, and I used marker over top to make it look like I had sort of small islands and different things like that coming through. Then just to play, I put some pastels on where some of my colors had shifted. I wanted to see if I could blend pastels in. Didn't love how that worked, but ended up covering most of that up again. Then I did some stencil work over here and down here, just again trying to play and see what would work. Then I put in this is like a material. This is a material. I put in just some ephemera that I had, ripped a page from a book that I had. Then I used a gel medium to adhere that all down and color wash the whole thing in the end. So it was nothing in particular. I think at this point now I'd have to put like a main feature on here with some keywords, but the idea was to play to find out what I needed to have prepared for my day of work. So let's look at that next. Here is my final results. And Linda and I, first of all, I hope you all have a dear friend like Linda, because let me tell you, she's the absolute best, and doing this project with her is very special indeed. We started by taping, with masking tape, the project down to cardboard, which was already an improvement from the first time I had done things because I didn't tape down my watercolor paper. Then we used watercolor. I learned I may be watering mine down a little too much, but I still like what had come. I tried to do very earthy tones on the bottom and a little bit more like sky at the top. I had bought this cool stencil from Temu, and then I used the Creative Memories ink pads and brushes to stencil in this lovely lady, which I thought represented everything I want to transform through this year. I used ChatGPT to help me make these fake seed packages. Each one was something I wanted to be working on this year. And then I dry brushed the edges and used the gel gloss medium. I added some actual seeds with crystal effects, tried a little bit of calligraphy writing, glued in another small little plant, and put a J and L because my husband's name is Jay and I am Laura, and I thought those sayings were perfect because this really is a journey, and really it is for love of my family and love of myself. So the seeds that I wanted to plant this year come down to the following. This is how I condensed it. My soil conditions, which means all the things I've been working on the last few years with Allie Edwards and her one little word. So I said I'm ready for growth. I've taken new medication, I have an ample support system, and I have strengthened my mindset. My future self is one of the biggest questions I asked myself in January that really hit home for me. There was a number of questions. You don't have to do every question, but this is the one that struck me the most, was that I need to plant seeds like protein and tracking those macros. I need to move more, and I need to get outside and do some strength training. This is all because I'm in perimenopause and I'm losing some muscle mass. I'm taking this Zepbound medication, which can certainly do that when I'm trying to lose weight, so I need to focus on that stuff. And then what I really want to focus on is growing my brand, my Laura Learns channel. I want to do some more camping. I want to keep dancing with my family and make that a priority. And I want to plan my next big trip, and I really want to focus more on being an artist. So I'm going to put these 2 pages in my album for my year of growth, and I still have to think about a title page. Next month is February, and we'll be focusing on nourishing our seeds and watering them and what that looks like. I'm going to give you the prompts coming up here next. Here's the actual printout that we used. We've got our creative intentions listed, but you don't have to do it in that way. You can literally just type it in a Google Doc, journal it on a piece of paper, or say it out loud into a voice app. It doesn't matter how you want to reflect, as long as you do. So January was for planting our intentions and possibilities, and we had this list of questions. You saw on my sheet that I talked about my soil and what I already had, what my future needed me to plant, and what I wanted to spend my time tending to. So those are the questions you might consider asking yourself. And then, come February, we are watering and nourishing our seeds. Linda and I plan to be sketching and doodling. I want to focus on using my Copic markers and learning how to color with shading and light, something I haven't done a whole lot of. And I'm going to be focusing really heavily on routines, because I'm not a very routine person, and what habits will help me to maintain everything that I want and that I think I can do for long periods of time. I also really want to focus on what nourishes my soul. It's not something I think about often, and I really need to continue doing something that really suits me and just fills me up. So if you're interested in following this plan, now you've seen the questions for January, and you've seen the questions for February, so you know what's happening in the next little bit. So I know it's not the same as being here and being able to talk to me about the plan and what we're trying to do, but the idea is to take those questions and try to really think about it and what it is that you would like to plant, what seeds you want to do, like a New Year's resolution in a way. But I think having the visual of seeds that you're going to nurture and grow over the year instead of just having to start bang right away is kind of a nice idea. Linda and I really sat and reflected with our thoughts about what we needed. And in fact, Linda got her drawings done, but she didn't do her writing yet, because it's really important to her how she words it and exactly what she needs. And she needs a little more time to reflect on that. And I was so proud of her for even realizing that and knowing that's what she needed. So she's going to be doing her journaling in the next couple of weeks. In February, we're going to be focusing on some marker work, but I hope you'll follow us and do it in whichever way suits your needs and meets your fancy. If you're liking this plan and program, please feel free to share, ask me more questions if you want, share with me what your seeds are. I would love to hear all about it.